Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Observations of an American Living in Germany. Okay, well, I'll try not to make this one too long. The German government recently fixed the Autobahn bridge, known as A66, that goes through Wiesbaden. It's helped a lot with traffic. But I've noticed that they've done some street closures in our city where they have streets that are one way. They've even had other streets that were two way that now they blocked it so it's only one way. They put up construction barriers, but they're not doing any work. So, they'll block off the whole thing and nobody's ever there working. It's strange. But they put up some poles and barricades so that you can go through on a motorcycle or a bicycle, but you can't go through in a car, which requires you to go the long way around so that you're in traffic at lights. Now it's created a really bad problem on one of the rings where people go down to make a right turn to get on Route 643 to get to the Autobahn. And if they had the back road open, you would have two or three other streets where you could get out to that road and be able to get down to the Autobahn faster. It just seems kind of counterproductive. It creates where everybody has to now sit in traffic instead of being able to go take a more direct route without traffic lights. It just seems, I know that some of my neighbors have said that the Green Party had something to do with it. I don't know if that's true or not, but they were worried about automobile emissions, trying to discourage driving, but they're making people sit in traffic more where they're idling and burning fuel and getting no miles per gallon. Anyway, that seemed kind of counterproductive, but it is nice that they have the highway open, and they did a really smart thing. They have the speed limit down to 80 kilometers because they only have one span of the bridge open, and they have two narrow lanes in each direction. And when you're going westbound, it drops down to 60 just for that little stretch because it's kind of disjointed. And they put yellow traffic lanes down when they're doing some kind of construction. They don't take away the normal dotted traffic lines. They put down yellow instead of white. This is a good idea because it encourages people to pay attention when you're in a construction zone. But for those of us who have cars with lane departure warning systems, it starts shaking the steering wheel because it thinks you're going off the road. So that's a little disconcerting. I don't know if German cars have that or not, but our American spec car has it. I've noticed it's pretty easy to tell an American spec vehicle over here because you will see red blinkers in the back. If somebody has an Audi or a BMW or a Volkswagen and it's an American spec car, you'll see red blinkers in the back, whereas all Germans have yellow blinkers. And in the front, if you see yellow parking lights, which are usually the blinkers at half brightness, that's pretty much a giveaway it's an American car. I've noticed it with our Mazda. When you turn on the parking lights, they glow yellow in the front because it's a US spec car. But the German one, the parking lights are white lights and they're up next to the headlights. And the blinkers don't come on at all unless they're blinking. So that's one way to tell an American spec car pretty easily. Another thing I've noticed, I may have mentioned this before, is that our navigation system doesn't work over here because it's only programmed for the satellite that's over the United States. And we have Sirius XM satellite radio in our car, but there's no Sirius XM satellite over Europe. They're only over North America. So I just stream it through my phone and I get really good quality sound with it. German radio stations also transmit on 100.0, 100.4, 98.2, 105.8. In the United States, FM radio only transmits on the odd number frequencies like 87.9, 90.3, 91.9, 102.7, etc. So we can only receive about half the stations over here, and FM radio sounds like an old AM radio station from the 1950s. The sound is all muddy. It's because the broadcast format is different. But then again, I just stream everything through my phone, through the Bluetooth, so it doesn't really matter that much. But when we first got over here, we had a German rental car, and the radio sounded fantastic. Just a different format. When we watch TV at home, we just have basic internet from Telecom. And we had to fill out some kind of form because there's a German television tax, but we're exempt from that because we don't watch German TV. We don't even have an antenna. We stream everything, and I have to use a VPN. I believe they call it a virtual protection network or virtual privacy network. And we have it set so that it thinks we're in the United States because it won't let us watch Netflix, Hulu, and Prime, things like that are American television shows. It won't let us receive it in this area. And there are American websites for news on the internet that if we don't have the VPN on, it'll say this is not available in your area. So that's one of the things we've had to get used to. But the cell phone service over here is a lot cheaper, and it seems to be better than in the United States. I paid $60 or $70 a month for a single cell phone, or what you call a handy. In the United States here with Aldi Talk, we pay $17.99. We get unlimited talk and text on their network, but we get 16 gig of data. I've never used more than 8 gig in a month. It seems like when I stream audio, it doesn't burn that much data. It only burns up a lot if you stream video. And I don't do that. I don't do video all that often. But the cell phone coverage over here is generally very good. $17.99 a month is cheap. And we bought unlocked phones from the United States. And then we just use an Aldi SIM card in it. And when I went back to the United States for 2 weeks in October, I bought a eSIM, ESIM. I bought an eSIM, and I basically use my phone, I think is a Galaxy A23 or something like that. It's a fairly new one. I bought an eSIM card for 30 days. I only needed it 2 weeks, but I think I only paid $15 for it, and it gave me 15 gig. I had my phone on the whole time for GPS and for music. I didn't even come close to using half that in the 2 weeks I was there. The technology for wireless communication has come a long way. I use what's called Google Voice. I ported my number from the United States before we came over here in August of 2022, and it cost me a one-time fee of $20. And I have a U.S. phone number, which is so that people from the States can call me and I can call them at no charge. I also use the WhatsApp. That comes in very handy. As long as you have a data connection, you can use it anywhere in the world. My German phone number I only use to call my wife or from my dentist, my landlord, things like that. But when I log on to my banking website, I have the two-step authentication, so they have to text me a number, a security code to my US number. Same thing with Facebook. And then I get that through Google Voice. The only bad thing about Aldi Talk, it charges you if you send a picture as a text message. It charges, it takes out of your Guthaben or whatever they call that. They don't, it's not included with your package. If you want to text a picture to somebody, you have to use WhatsApp or you have to use Google Voice. So I guess that's the only bad thing about Aldi Talk, but the good thing is it just comes right out every month. It's prepaid. There's no contract or anything like that. There is Telecom is who we have our internet with at home. Telecom also has cell phone plans. I don't know that much about them, but they're owned by T-Mobile, which is probably the number 3 or number 4 cellular carrier in the United States. I've noticed lately that the speed cameras are up and working. I got a ticket that was right inside the 90-day window. It was like 88 days. I got one for 30 euros. So far I've had three of them in a year and a half, and my wife has had two. So no points or anything. It's just kind of annoying. I mean, I got two of them. I was 7 kilometers over and got a ticket. That's like 4 miles an hour. That's barely, even in the United States, you wouldn't get hit for that. Most of the cameras they have in the United States are set for 11 miles an hour over, which would be about 15 kilometers. Um, and most police officers won't stop you until you're 10 miles an hour over, um, which is probably 13 kilometers, something like that. Um, Generally, they don't stop you until you're 10 over. But if you do get a ticket from a police officer, it goes against your license. If you get a camera ticket, it's just a civil violation. But they won't come out and say it, but those things are all about revenue and not safety. But I'd much rather pay 30 euros and not have any points on my license than pay, 80, 90, or $100 and get 2 points, two demerit points on my license. So I guess you take the good with the bad. Um, I've noticed the days are finally starting to get a little bit longer. It's rainy this morning. It's Wednesday morning right now, and it's kind of chilly and rainy here. But it was the last 2 days were absolutely beautiful. High 40s, maybe 50 degrees, a little bit of a breeze, but rather sunny. Um, I guess this is typical German February weather. But I'm noticing that it's not dark at 4:30 in the afternoon anymore. And before long, we're going to be back to the northern latitude summer, where it's going to be, daylight at 4:30 in the morning, and it won't get dark till 10:30 at night. So you take the good, you take the bad, and there you have the facts of life. Oh God, that was bad. That's a reminds me of the theme song of an old TV show from the 1980s back in the States. But my wife had a really bad cold. She was sick. I just had a little bit of a cough. Uh, Negative for COVID, thankfully. Hopefully, we're done with that. We're done with that mess. But anyway, hopefully everybody's day is going well, and I'll sign off now because I'm rambling on. But anyway, uh, how do you say it? Schönen Nachmittag. Well, it's not afternoon yet, but anyway, I guess it would just be schönen Tag. So, tschüss.